Hi, and welcome to this very special edition of Roof Restorations. Today I'll be taking part in a Trash to Treasure challenge with some of my favourite YouTubers, so please take the time after you've watched this one to pop over and see theirs too. There's a playlist attached. During this video you might see me with a bandage on my hand. That was caused by an accident with a table saw a few weeks ago. This video has been quite difficult to make because, as you can imagine, it makes working with tools quite difficult. I'd just like to say, anybody who works with machine tools, please be careful. 1 second of distraction could end up with you losing a digit, and we don't want that. As you can see, this box is in a pretty bad state of repair. The brass banding is coming off. I'll need to take that off and try and deal with it. The hinges are something else. They're not the original hinges. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4 screws, and they've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different types of screws. As you can see, the veneer's come off, and you can see the original construction of the box underneath. So I'm going to have to try and use some walnut veneer to try and tidy that up. The other hinge is in exactly the same state. Again, a big chunk of the actual substructure of the box is missing. Once I've repaired that, then I can try and put a new hinge on. Inside the box, we have a problem in that this half of the writing top itself is broken, but at least we have it, and the other half is missing. So I'm going to have to try and find a way of creating a whole new top. Obviously I'll have to replace the leather that was in there to begin with. Whether I can get any leather with tooling on, I don't know. I might have to just see what I can get. The hidden compartment for your pens and stuff is still working. We have a few bits and bobs of the old layout for the drawers. There are 2 keys here, and sadly when I tried them they're not the keys for the box, so I'll have to deal with that somehow. I suspect I won't end up with a key. There's a single inkwell here. Whether it's genuine or original I don't know. Still got the remnants of a bit of ink in the bottom, to be fair. As you can see, the bottom is totally split open. So I'll have to deal with that in some way. I'm not sure whether we'll just cover it at the bottom or replace it altogether. I'm not sure. But basically, it's in a hell of a state. And to be honest, if it wasn't from my grandmother, it being my grandmother's, I'm not sure I'll be tackling this. But it's all for sentimental reasons rather than certainly no commercial reason for spending the amount of time that I'd have to on this to turn it into a commercially viable box. It would probably take far too much effort to do it. Again, you can see here that there's a chunk missing from the hinge side. There's a part of the banding missing there, so I'll have to replace that somehow. These are obviously very loose. So, let's get started. I think the first thing to do is to get it into 2 halves, because every time I open these hinges it's just doing more and more damage to the box. We've got a couple of more variations. We've got a dome screw here. slotted steel screw. Wow, that's actually a self-tapping screw. It's not even a wood screw, that's a metal screw. And if you can see there, the thread, the cutting thread on it. That is the most amazing set of screws I've ever seen. To be fair, it's probably my dad who did it. God rest his soul, he's gone now, but he wasn't the most practical of men. What I'm going to do next is I'm pretty sure that this is actually a shellac. And now I'm going to see if I can try and clean it up and see what it actually looks like underneath, see what state it's in. I think it'll be okay, to be honest. It's going a little bit gloopy, so I suspect that we're okay as far as cleaning this shellac off. As you can see, that's cleaned off all that muck and dirt off there, and it's starting to clean up the veneer. I'm going to carry on with this now for a while, and we'll see where we end up, but I think it's going to look quite good. I don't know if you can see the streaks in it, but it's obvious that it's pulling the shellac off. As you can see, I'm starting to make some progress. I've taken the shellac and wax off the box. The banding, which was very loose, is also off at the minute. I've started to make an attempt at cleaning it. So I've got to the point now where I'm looking at the inside of the box a little bit more. And the problem I have is that there should be two writing surfaces that fit in the box. This one's broken. The other one is completely missing, which is leaving me with a bit of a problem. So what I decided to do is I looked for another box, a very cheap one, which I picked up off Facebook Marketplace, in fact, because I needed some donor parts. This one, the hinges were part of the problem. I still need to repair these, obviously, but the hinges were totally wrong. They were the wrong type, and they were certainly destroying the box themselves. So what I've got is I've got that one and one piece, but I'm now the proud owner of a second box. This one is in a particularly bad state of affairs, but it's very slightly bigger than this one, and that's important because I need, first of all, I've got taken the hinges from this one, which are going to be used as part of the replacement. More importantly for this project, these pieces from this one, which I've tidied this one up a little bit, they're fractionally larger, and I mean fractionally larger, than the one that we're trying to replace. Again, these were also broken, but they're still here. So as you can see, it's, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of an inch wider and maybe 1/4 of an inch deeper, but at least it gives me the opportunity to use these to replace this broken one, and the one which is missing will be replaced by this one, which is also broken in 2 places, but it gives me the opportunity to try and make that replacement. Right, another day, another trip to the hospital, different bandage. You can tell the chronology of this build as it goes through all my different sets of bandages. As I said before, the piece that covers the drawers and stops them falling out, sometimes called a secret drawer, but it's not really, it was missing. So I've got a piece of black walnut. I haven't got any English walnut, so I'm going to have to try and do something with the colouring slightly, but we'll deal with that as it comes along. What I've done is I've marked 3 holes for the 3 little knobs on the drawers, and I've marked them on here, so I'm going to counterbore them a little bit, just deep enough for those. Then there's another one here for the spring clip, but we'll deal with that in a minute. It's deep enough, and I don't think we've popped out the other side. Look at it. But the last one is up here. We'll square them off. I'll tidy them up now just to make sure that there's enough tolerance, but basically if I slip that in there now, it fits in nicely. So this will be the release catch. There'll be a piece of spring steel on the back of here to push it away, to naturally try and push it away. And this mechanism here will be a latch. We'll hold it in tight, and then when that's lifted, it'll pop out with the spring steel. I've marked up with a pencil where I want to try and insert a block there, because this is all completely destroyed. So I'm going to use a knife now to cut around the line to try and minimize any damage when I try and cut it out. So let's do that next. Which is all very difficult when you've got a comedy finger. Now I need to find a piece that I can put in here, and I've gone through this box of old bits of mahogany and sapele, and I think I've got a few pieces that might be candidates. This one in particular is an old piece of mahogany, got the right width, and the grain pattern goes the right way. There's a big split down the board here, and I can't take it off because the veneer goes across the top of it. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and cut a slot in there and then insert a sliver of this just to make it good, because it's not going to be seen at the end of the day, but I just want to make it a bit more solid. So I've already drawn a line. I've already been carefully sawing away at this in line with where I need to go. What I've managed to do is to create myself a fillet that will go in there. It's way too deep at the minute, but I want to make sure that everything gets glued down, and then I can plane that off once everything's dry, because this is curved up, so I want to try and get that pushed down if I can. I'll leave those protruding up because obviously I can't plane it off with them in there, so I'm just doing this because I want to make sure that the bottom doesn't pop back out again. on reflection, this black walnut doesn't match the box very well at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some walnut veneer, which I've got here, that as you can see is a much better match. So let's see what we can do with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out a piece a little bit larger than we need, so I'm cutting away from the line there. Just spent nearly a whole day making veneer patches on here. I thought I'd spare you the pain of watching it all, but this is the second lot. The first lot have dried off, so I've been able to move on to the second. What I'll need to do next is to start looking at resizing these writing surfaces that came from the other box so they'll fit into this one. It's not a lot I need to take off. Hold it there, you can see it's only maybe 1/8 of an inch, but I just need to take a little bit off this edge, and I'll need to take a little bit off the opposite edge here. think we're about there now. I'll put some veneer around the outside to make it look right again. But bit by bit, I think we're getting there. Not too bad. traditionally you would use a rubber to put on French polish, but because I've got this problem here with my hand, it's very difficult to hold the rubber because you need to squeeze it tight and twist it round. So I'm going to use this mop for now, and maybe in a few weeks' time, when I'm on the road to recovery, I'll try and use a rubber to try and improve it. Well, that concludes the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you pop over and check all the other videos, and I'll see you soon. Bye.